Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are diving into a political storm that has gripped South Africa and left millions debating whether one of the country's most fiery politicians might soon be behind bars. Julius Malema, Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Freedom Fighters, has officially been found guilty of firing a rifle in public. Yes, you heard that right. A sitting member of parliament, the leader of the third-largest political party in the country, convicted for discharging a firearm at a rally. Now, this isn't just a traffic fine or some minor parliamentary slap on the wrist. The conviction carries a possible sentence of up to 15 years in prison. That's right, 15 years. If the judge decides to throw the book at him, Malema could lose his freedom, his seat in parliament, and his position in the history of South African politics. For a man who thrives on the stage, who built his entire career on dramatic public performances, the idea of being silenced inside a prison cell is almost unthinkable. But, as with any political drama in this country, nothing is ever straightforward. Top legal mind Zola Majavu has laid out 3 last-minute lifelines that might just save Malema from swapping red berets for prison overalls. And trust me, these are not just technicalities, they could completely change the outcome of this trial. First up, before sentencing, Malema's lawyers have the option to submit what are known as pre-sentencing reports. Now, for those unfamiliar, these reports are basically a humanizing exercise. They put together Malema's life story, his achievements, his community work, and even his personal hardships, to paint a picture of him as more than just the man who pulled the trigger that day. It's a way of saying, Judge, yes, he's guilty, but he's also a father, a leader, a man who inspires millions, and he deserves mercy. This strategy could open the door for alternatives to prison, like house arrest, a hefty fine, or even community service. And let's be honest, South Africans would pay good money to watch Malema picking up litter on the side of the N1 in his red overalls. Imagine that as a campaign poster. But jokes aside, the law requires the court to consider these submissions before deciding on the sentence, which means Malema's team will leave no stone unturned in trying to soften the blow. The second lifeline is the appeal process. If Malema receives a harsh sentence, his lawyers can immediately apply for leave to appeal. This is critical, because it allows him to remain outside prison while the appeal winds its way through the courts. Appeals in South Africa can stretch for months, even years, and in a politically charged case like this, it could go all the way to the Constitutional Court. Majavu himself confirmed that Malema will not go down without exhausting every possible legal channel. And let's face it, Malema thrives in the courtroom. Each appearance becomes another stage for his political theater. For him, a long legal battle is just another campaign rally with wigs and gowns. The third, and perhaps most intriguing, option is to challenge the conviction itself. And here's where things get messy. Malema was found guilty of firing the weapon, but the man accused of handing him the gun, his bodyguard, was acquitted. Let that sink in. Somehow, in the court's eyes, the gun appeared in Malema's hands like magic. No supplier, no accomplice, just Julius and his trigger finger. This contradiction opens the door for his lawyers to argue that the verdict was inconsistent, even illogical. If the evidence doesn't add up, they could demand that the conviction be set aside entirely. Now, whether the court buys that argument is another matter, but it's the kind of legal crack Malema's team is more than ready to exploit. South African courts have overturned convictions before when evidence didn't align properly, and this could very well be one of those cases. Beyond the legal technicalities, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. This conviction isn't just about Malema as an individual, it's about what happens to the EFF and to South Africa's political landscape if their leader is sidelined. The EFF has built its entire brand around Malema's personality. His voice is the rallying cry, his energy drives the marches, his charisma holds the base together. Without him at the forefront, would the party still have the same bite? Some believe the EFF could collapse without its commander-in-chief. Others think a conviction could martyr him, turning Malema into a symbol of resistance and making the party even stronger. Let's not forget, Malema has faced scandal after scandal throughout his career, from corruption allegations to tax battles, and he has always emerged more popular than before. To his supporters, the system is always out to get him. To his critics, he's a reckless opportunist who finally needs to face consequences. This latest conviction feeds into both narratives. And then there's the humor that South Africans never fail to find in a crisis. Social media is already buzzing with jokes. Some are asking if correctional services will let Malema paint prison walls red. Others want to know if Parliament will have to switch to Zoom calls from polls more. And of course, there are memes about how his speeches might sound if delivered through prison bars. In true Mzansi style, the nation finds laughter in the middle of chaos. But make no mistake, the stakes here are deadly serious. Malema is not just any politician. He has been a thorn in the side of both the ANC and the DA, pushing radical ideas on land reform, nationalization, and redistribution. If he's locked away, it could weaken one of the strongest opposition voices in the country. On the other hand, some in the ruling party might secretly welcome the silence. The coming weeks will be critical. The pre-sentencing submissions, the possibility of an appeal, and the looming challenge to the conviction all hang in the balance. Malema's fate could swing from years in prison to nothing more than a slap on the wrist. And as always in South African politics, the drama will play out in full public view. So, what do you think? Should Julius Malema face the full weight of the law for firing that rifle, or should his political contributions and influence earn him a second chance? Is this the beginning of the end for the EFF's leader, or just another chapter in the never-ending saga of Julius versus the system? That's all for today's deep dive. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to keep up with the twists and turns of South African politics, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Do you think Malema will walk free, or will he be making speeches from behind bars? Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.